Hey, Coach.
How we doing?
Good, you?
Doing well, thanks.
Well, I wanted to start out by talking about some of the coaching changes that you've made as far as the defense goes, and how those are working out for you.
Yeah, it's been good. You know, obviously, the newest thing and really the newest position, the guy that's learning the most right now is Preston Hadley, moving from the secondary over to the front. But he's been with me, and it's been good to have him. You know, he's a smart coach, intelligent, picking everything up, but also just giving us a little bit more opportunity to focus on specific position groups. You know, for all these years and all the other places that I've been, I've always had a GA just coaching the front, the whole front. And it's a lot of work. There's a lot of guys that are doing different things. You know, with all the different fronts that we have, there's so many things. There's so many moving parts and so many guys learning a bunch of different techniques in different positions. And so having Preston's been huge for me, and I think he's got a bright future coaching the front if he wants to stay in there.
What's it like making those decisions? Because I imagine when you're looking at it and trying to shuffle around and decide how you're going to handle it, what's that like for you?
Yeah, you know, it's really just trying to do what we think is best for the team and the program. And you know, with Coach Lamb moving to the back end, that's his specialty, and that's what he was when he originally came, and that's what you know, it just fit naturally for us, especially with just hiring Coach Clune. And so you know, really the focus has just been on the kids and doing what's best for them and putting guys in the right seats, or the guys that you know, there was a time in my career where I had never coached on defense before, and Kalani asked me to stay with him and coach on the defensive line, and he put trust in me, and it's been a good learning experience for me. And you know, obviously now everybody probably didn't know that I ever coached on offense, and I'm a front guy. But you know, when you make those kind of changes, there's always a year one, there's always a step one, and right now that's where we're at right now with at least Coach Hadley learning that. And you know, it's really good for him, good for me too, because I'm having to reteach and detail. You know, there's a lot of times I just kind of carry all the stuff in my head, and I know what's going on, but I got to reteach and detail. You know, all the things, moving parts that's going on. And I actually took Coach Hadley with me for 3 days down to visit with one of my D-line mentors, and he was able to learn from him, which is huge. He was training D-line guys there, so we went down to Florida. You know, all work, obviously, all work, and down in Miami, no time for the beach. But we went down, and we spent 3 days down there with Pete Jenkins, who's a close friend of mine and a D-line mentor, D-line guru, and you know, around this time he trains NFL players. Those players pay him to come down and train with them, and we were able to come and sit in meetings and watch and listen. And we happened to be down there the same week that the D-line coach from Alabama, D-line coach from Georgia, from Arkansas, from Kentucky, we're all down there. You know, and they're all I guess you would say just from the Pete Jenkins tree. And so I can consider myself a Pete Jenkins disciple as well. And now you know, proudly, Coach Hadley can do the same. And so there's a lot of good things going on as far as just different coaches learning different things, having another coach that's been a coordinator a bunch of different places. And I don't know if you guys knew this, but Coach Clune coached me too. So Kalani coached me when I was on offense, and when I moved over and played backer for a spring, Coach Clune was my coach. And so having a mentor, a good friend, as well as just a guy that's been a coordinator, and we've got a lot of coordinator experience in our room, and obviously always having Kalani with us is huge. And so the movement of the coaches has been good to shake us up and you know, change things up for us, to just refresh things and move things around. But getting that full-time position on the defensive side, you know, I'd never really realized how much we were missing out. We always felt like we were doing a good job with 4 coaches and kind of battling, and wanted the offense to have those 6 coaches so they can be successful. But having 5 coaches on our side has been refreshing, and I'm really happy with the way that it's going right now.
Coach, that was a good answer. You answered most of my questions, but I still have a couple. Hey, I noticed Kevin Clune is from Monterey. Does that mean he can get us on at Pebble Beach?
Man, that guy has no pull anywhere. unfortunately. He knows where all the good spots are to eat. You know what? He's not even a golfer. It's weird. He's one of the guys on the defensive staff that's not a golfer. I think he's just trying to do that, you know, to spite everybody else, all the other coaches that are saying, okay, I'm giving up my playing career and I'm going to start playing a little bit more golf. Clune's on the opposite end of the spectrum there.
Seriously, I want to just ask you about, you got to replace Kairos and Zagdaw and Bracknell Bakri. Who has kind of caught your eye after a couple practices, and how are you going to kind of move on from those guys?
Yeah, shoot, I've got a lot of bodies, a lot of able bodies. They're all young. You know, I think you guys all knew that we're replacing a bunch of experience, and we've got a couple guys that come back with a lot of game experience, but not starter experience. And for the D-line, sometimes a little bit different, just because we do rotate, and you guys have seen that we rotate pretty deep into guys that can contribute. I want to try to keep guys fresh and healthy the whole season. But let me see here. At the end spot, you know, obviously excited for Batty to come back, but we've got, you know, Fisher Jackson's one of the kids that's one of the kids that's starting to show up. Hunter Greer is a new one that's doing well. You know, let me see here. Some of the other guys haven't really had as many reps, just this many practices in. But Hunter Greer, Fisher Jackson, you know, young guy. He's a Blake Mangelson's probably your way, but he's another one that's going to be good. And then, you know, in the multiple fronts that we played, John Nelson is one that I think is going to be a contributor for us as a freshman. Yeah, other than that, I think everybody's still really just learning. There's a lot of learning going on. There's a lot of young kids that don't have a lot of experience, and you know, they're coming from the high school level. There's just so much to learn, you know, at the D-line spot, and it's going to take some time. You know, obviously, some of the other ones were earlier. I think Kairos might have been the only earliest contributor. Other than that, everybody else had some time that they were, you know, took some time to learn it. So.
Let's take another question. Let's take one from Matt and Hunter.
Coach, the safety position is another one of those positions where you lose some experienced guys, but there's some guys in that room that do have game experience. Who's in the mix to be in the 2 deep at the safety position?
Shoot, you know, I had the sheet with me because I carry the D-line depth chart with me, just because there's so many of them rotating. Hard to go right off the top of my head with all those guys. I mean, there's so many guys. We're rotating a lot. We're rotating all of them, and 3 practices in. Still pretty early to tell, but there, you know, there's guys that have played that look like they're gonna obviously be contributors. But out of all the new guys, I don't know if anybody's really stuck out. Yeah, there's still a lot of mistakes being made and a lot of learning going on. You know, we moved Javel Brown is one that we moved over from receiver safety. I thought that he had a play today that you know, stuck out in my mind. But you know, they're all so young right now. They're all so young. I don't have the depth chart in front of me to tell you exactly who's kind of doing what, but.
Coach, I'm curious, with all the coaching staff changes and kind of player turnover you've had this offseason, do you foresee your defensive philosophy and scheme changing at all this offseason?
No.
And then to ask about a player in specific, Deangelo Mandel looks like he's had a pretty good week of practice, a couple interceptions in there. Do you foresee him being someone to be a major contributor this season, and what kind of strides has he taken this offseason?
Yeah, Delo's done a good job. He's always worked hard. You know, he's always had a couple of kids that have been competing with him in front of him, and he's always played for us and taken snaps. But I think right now, just the way that he's confidently moving around and how strong he is in the weight room, as well as just understanding what he's doing, starting to look like a guy that can certainly compete for a starting spot and maybe be the guy. And so we're really hoping that this is the year that he takes that step forward. And you know, so you guys have all probably talked to Kalani as well as Coach Lamb about our recruiting philosophy, and sometimes the type of kids that you recruit may take a little bit more time, but you know, it's about this year, at least for D'Lo and and Isaiah Herron that you really start to see big difference. It was about the same with Chris Wilcox. You know, Chris Wilcox year 3 was a huge one for him, and so hoping we can start to see dividends pay for all those young kids that we've taken, developmental corners. Delo's definitely one of them.
Thanks, Coach.
All right, I think that's actually all the time we have, so thanks for joining us.
All right, thank you.